Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment, here to discuss some breaking news. Wide receiver Antonio Brown, or as he will now be called on this channel, Antonio Clown, has been released from the Oakland Raiders. People, this has just gotten ridiculous. This has just gotten sad. This has just gotten pathetic. And I don't even know what more words I can use to describe this situation with Antonio Brown. He has now essentially voided. The Raiders will argue there's probably a grievance ahead. Probably Antonio Brown's going to sue the team. We're going to go to trial. That's what I think we're headed. Right now it appears as if he voided his contract, by going through conduct detrimental to the team when he went off on general manager Mike Mayock, I want to say on Wednesday, conduct detrimental to the team. That also combined with him missing practices, just being a head case. They're going to argue, you voided your contract. We're not giving you the $30 million guaranteed that was promised to you when you signed this contract with the Oakland Raiders. And people, this is just sad. It's hilarious. Okay, don't get me wrong. It's hilarious. I'm on Twitter just like each and every single one of you, clowning Antonio Brown. Deservedly so, right? Because this is just ridiculous. It's funny. It's comical. But it's also sad because this is a guy. And I remember I watched a documentary. What documentary was that? When Antonio Brown was talking about his upbringing, I want to say in Miami, and you saw where he grew up and, talking with the people that raised him and everything, and you got to see, like, man, this guy really came from the mud, and I love those type of stories. I understand it. Trust me, I feel you. I've been there, okay? But when you finally rise above, right, when you finally rise through it, man, for some people, it just goes to their head. I think Vontaze Burfict, knocked the sense out of Antonio Brown. I think there might be some CTE going on here. There's been a lot of hits that Antonio Brown has taken, combined with the stress and the pressure of the NFL. He's not a mentally healthy man. I mean, we just need to call it what it is. He is not a mentally healthy man, because any mentally healthy man would just sit down and play football, just get your $30 million guaranteed. Oakland, yeah, you went to Oakland. No one told you to go to the Oakland Raiders. You're the one that decided to sign there, foolishly. I mean, I said it when he signed there. Why are you going to Oakland? You're complaining about Pittsburgh, a perennial playoff team. Now, they're not the New England Patriots, at least not this decade, but historically, they're just as good. They have just as many Super Bowls. Well, now the Patriots are probably going to surpass them. So with that said, you went from a great organization to the Oakland Raiders, okay? And, you expected things to be better. You were, upset that Ben Roethlisberger didn't treat you as a friend and a family, and Derek Carr is here trying to do that, but then you don't even show up for training camp. You don't even show up for practice. You want to be part of the family. You want to be part of the gang, part of the crew. You want to be accepted. But then there you are, calling your general manager a cracker. I mean, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say that anymore, in today's modern era, modern day and age. But that's what he called him. Ridiculous. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that's a very bad term. I mean, I'm uncomfortable even saying it in the context. If we're talking about saltine crackers, I'm fine saying that, but I'm very uncomfortable saying that. You just don't say that. You just don't say that. Just as how ridiculous would it be if Mike Mayock called Antonio Brown the equivalent of that term, the black equivalent, the African, terminology equivalent of that term, right? It's just ridiculous. You can't say that. I'm sorry, you just can't say that unless if it's, in a joking context. I mean, even that I think is, you have to have a rapport and a relationship built for that. Let's just say that. So look, that's very disrespectful, point blank, period, for a guy that gave you this money, for a guy that brought you in. They've been so accommodating to you. He's a clown. He's Antonio Clown. That's his name. That's his new last name. Okay, we're going to go to the courts today, and we're going to get it, we're going to get it approved. And I'm going to ask for Donald Trump to put an executive order. That's his new last name. That's the last name that he deserves. So, I mean, this is just ridiculous. I'm over it. $30 million left on the table. And look, now we're going to move to the discussion of where he's going to go to next. momentarily. But look, the Oakland Raiders, they're a joke. I mean, literally, I can't believe this organization. I think this is actually, I'm not even joking now, this might be the worst run regime ever. I mean, it's actually getting close to that point. I mean, record-wise, like, they're not going to go 0-16. I mean, I had them going 6-10. I mean, Jesus. I mean, the season has started, so I want to. It's too late to back off from that. But I had them better than the Broncos. Nope. Broncos gonna blow them out probably on Monday night. And, I mean, they're looking like another 3-4 win team. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about Terrell Williams. Okay, mama named him Terrell. I'm going to call him Terrell. You're talking about Terrell Williams being the number one wide receiver for this team. And then you're talking about Hunter Renfrow, who I think stinks. I mean, he's a rookie. We'll see what he can do. But I don't think he's going to do anything his rookie year, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he's going to, come in and have that much of an impact. I just don't see it. Like, he was good at Clemson, don't get me wrong, but he's not going to be even Adam Humphries right off the bat. Not his rookie year. For these type of slot wide receivers, it takes them a couple years before they're really dynamic and able to do some things. And Hunter Renfrow, I think he's actually quite limited. I mean, you just put him in the slot and then, he'll, run a quick little, out route, quick little in route, quick little slant. But he's not a guy that you can, like, put in the backfield, hand the ball off, be able to throw a screen to and expect him to be able to, juke some guys and go off for a touchdown. He's not a guy that you can expect to take the top off the defense. I don't think he's that versatile. So I'm not that excited for Hunter Renfrow. We'll see. But I think you're just going to see a bunch of 5-yard outs and ins and, and slants, and that's going to be it for Hunter Renfrow. So I'm not excited for Hunter Renfrow. This Darren Waller at tight end, who? I mean, seriously. They're talking about Luke Wilson on Hard Knocks. I mean, this team stinks, okay? It stinks. It's a disaster. John Gruden and Mike Mayock are clowns. Okay, they add in right next to Antonio Clown. This is just absurd. I mean, it's just comical. It's just ridiculous. I would expect. What's his name? Is it Al Davis or no? Mark Davis. Sorry, Mark Davis, the owner. He's a child. I mean, he's like a 3-4-year-old child that is just picking personalities from TV and saying, okay, you head coach, you general manager, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster. These people traded away Khalil Mack, a future Hall of Famer who shuts up and plays football. He loves football, embraces football, Mr. Football. For a guy named, or not for a guy, but then they do that, right, for, a couple picks, whatever. And then they eventually, later on, trade for a guy in Antonio Brown, who right now doesn't want to play football. Right now is an absolute disaster. It's not the guy you want to lead your organization. It's not the guy that you want to be setting the example. It's not the guy that you want to entrust with your wide receiving core, entrust with your offense. You want to put in front of your fan base, in front of your fan base's children. The children of your fan base, and say this is a role model for this community and also for our next community as we begin to move towards Las Vegas. This was absurd. This regime is a disaster, and who knows? Maybe they'll actually do something this year, but I don't see it unless if Josh Jacobs is an absolute stud and he can carry the offense. The passing game now stinks. I don't know who's available. I don't think anyone's available right now in terms of the trade market. The season's beginning tomorrow. I mean, officially. Don't tell me about that Thursday game. That Thursday game was not the beginning of no NFL season. So, we're talking about a horrible wide receiver core right now because, again, I'm not a Hunter Renfrow fan. We'll see what he does. I'm not a Hunter Renfrow fan. And then, I don't even know who else they have. Do they still have... Oh boy, Seth Roberts, is he there? I don't know. I don't know who's there. I mean, I really don't. Let me see if I can pull up the Raiders roster right now. I actually don't know. Outside of Terrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, they were talking about this Keelan Doss on Hard Knocks, but they released him. So maybe they're probably gonna call him, pick him back up. But this is not a guy that's done anything in the NFL. So I mean, why are we expecting him to do anything in the NFL now? This is just a disaster. Oh, and okay, here's who else they have. J.J. Nelson, who can actually do some things. Martavis Bryant is still suspended. I mean, this franchise is a joke. Why are they picking up these suspended a character, horrible character players. Vontez Perfect. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then we have, Gruden trying to reconstruct Nathan Peterman like the Emperor, trying to reconstruct Darth Vader. I mean, what are you doing? Nathan Peterman stinks. I don't care what he does in practice. I don't care what he does in training camp. I don't care what he does in the preseason game. When you put him out there on a regular season game, he will absolutely poop the bed. Okay, that's what he's going to do. That's his move. He's proven it. He has the worst quarterback rating of all time. I mean, what I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm over it. I'm done with it. They also have Ryan Grant and Dwayne Harris. I don't care. This team stinks, and it's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a fun disaster to watch. I feel bad for Derek Carr. I feel bad because they're going to go through at least one more year of this. I think it's going to be one more year of this. I think that they keep Gruden and Mayock for one more year. What is sure to be another bad year, probably a little improved, but probably by then they can win 5 games, maybe 6. And then Mark Davis at that point will have to say, okay, this is just too bad, I'm out. Okay, like y'all are out, we're done, we're starting over. I mean, I think it's 2 more years of this, Raider fans. I really do. I don't think there's any way they fire Gruden 2 years into this 10-year contract. 10-year contract. This is absurd. You don't run an organization like this. I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, look, we've seen the Cleveland Browns with Jimmy Haslam and, the transition when he took over ownership and, the bad head coaches they've had in the past, Pat Shurmur, and who was the one guy that came from Carolina and then I never heard of him again? Like, I don't even know where he went afterwards. I want to say it was like 2014, 2013, maybe even 2012. But we've seen the Browns be awful. Okay, so I don't want to forget about the Cleveland Browns. But the Browns, although they were awful, they drafted Brandon Whedon and they drafted Johnny Manziel. I mean, they just never did stuff like this. I mean, this is just absurd. The Browns were more just measly, just stupid, pathetic, but this is just moronic. It's actually disgusting. It's actually offensive in a lot of ways. For us football fans to have to sit here and a lot of us know that we can do a better job as general manager. And why am I out of focus? Focus. Why are we not focusing here? I don't know why I just came out of focus. Okay, there we go. A lot of us sit here playing Madden. We're better GMs than Mike Mayock right now. I mean, Mike Mayock, look, he was a guy that NFL Network we respected. Now we look at it and we say, why? Because when you have your opportunity, you're absolutely blowing it away. God knows what Todd McShay would do if he was ever up there. So, potential destinations for Mr. Clown. I think he will be signed by another team. In fact, I actually think he'll be signed before, when it's all said and done, he'll be signed 2 more times. Maybe 3. And that third one will be his very last shot, and it may be another year, probably like 2 years from now. So this is what I expect. Someone's going to pick him up. Someone will foolishly pick him up. And I think it is foolish. Like, he's just a clown. He's done. He needs a year off from football. I think after a year off for something, when he gets his mind right, he just needs a mental health facility, honestly. And it's actually very unfortunate. We live in a society this day, although we're getting much better and better with this. We live in a society today where people don't acknowledge how important mental health is. And Tony Brown is not a mentally healthy man. He needs to be committed to a mental health institution. I've had friends that have done this. They've come out fantastic. He needs to be committed to a mental health facility. He doesn't need to go in an asylum or anything, but just, someplace where he can just go, enjoy the spa or something, think about, his family, his friends, everything, and, be away from his phone and social media and just, come back to the Antonio Brown of old. He needs it. And, that's number one to me. If I'm a team, actually, I would sign him and say, hey, we're going to sign you and we're going to put you in that facility. We're not putting you on the football field. We're putting you in that facility. He's not going to be down for that, but that's the contract that I'm offering. Because any team that signs him this year, and someone's going to sign him this year, probably this week, you're not going to get anything out of him. You're going to get a very Randy Mossian 2010-like performance. I mean, that's what we're talking about. Randy Moss with the Tennessee Titans, 2010. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. He's gonna get 600 receiving yards, which kills me, by the way, because I drafted him in one of my money leagues, $25 buy-in. Jesus, I thought it was a great value, round 3. I thought at the very least they're just going to throw the football up to Antonio Brown. He's going to come down with at least 1,300 yards. So anyway, 600 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, okay, maybe 3, and then that's going to be it. And then it's going to be a 1-year deal, and then he's going to go into free agency, and then he's going to sign for a different team. And then I think this team, will be more hopeful for him. I think, we'll think, okay, maybe he's now ready to get it together. And then I think he may even go through a year of actually being good again. And then we're going to relapse, and then he's going to be done. Actually, yeah, I think that'll be it. I'll say 2 more teams for Antonio Brown, and then he'll be done. And then it'll be a Chad Ochocinco-esque ending for Antonio Brown. I'll tell you right now, it's going to look like the exact end of Chad Ochocinco's career. Also looking a lot like Randy Moss, although at least Randy Moss still ended up on the 49ers. So, I mean, it's not even Randy Moss. Like, I think it'll look like exactly like Chad Ochocinco. He went to the Patriots, didn't catch anything, went to the Dolphins, released, and then was done. And I think that's about what we're looking at here. So I think someone signs him. So who's going to sign him first? Who's going to sign him this season? So you have a couple candidates. Number 1, New England Patriots. It makes the most sense. But why would you do it if you're New England? You have Josh Gordon right now. That's all you need. Why do you need Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown? Dude, those are 2 clowns. Look, you could wake up one morning, okay? You could wake up one morning. One morning you can wake up. Antonio Brown and Josh Gordon went to a nightclub, got high, fought some officers, drove home under the influence, and they're done. I mean, you want these 2 men in the same room? Are you out of your mind? I think that's ridiculous, okay? You're fine with one reclamation project right now in Josh Gordon. You do not need another. That's ridiculous to me. So I don't know why they do it. I mean, if they just really want to, stock up on weapons, but I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. Not even the New England Patriots can handle those 2 personalities in the same room. It's ridiculous. What are you talking about? So I don't know about that one. Someone suggested the Green Bay Packers, who I absolutely believe are in need for a wide receiver. Now, we saw Marquez Valdez-Scantling have a 47-yard reception in Thursday's game. However, that's about all he did. Trevor Davis, still not really ready to be a consistent receiver in this league. Equanimous St. Brown, same thing. They have a very young wide receiver core and very improving wide receiver core outside of Devontae Adams. Their tight ends are old too, although Jimmy Graham can still catch his jump balls. So, it makes sense, but I'll tell you, it'll be a damn disaster. Matt LaFleur, who I keep telling you, stinks. He cannot handle Antonio Brown. It's not going to happen. There's no way. Some other candidates. How about the Buffalo Bills? Now, it would be great. I mean, I don't think there's any place he could go that would actually be great, to be quite honest with you. But Josh Allen needs a weapon. I know Bills fans believe that John Brown and what's the what's the guy, Cole Beasley. I know Bills fans think that John Brown, Cole Beasley, and Zay Jones is a respectable wide receiver core. Bills fans are idiots. That's the worst wide receiver core in the league. Okay, so they can definitely use a guy like Antonio Brown. Now, he's going to go up there. He's going to be absolutely miserable. In fact, remember, I think he was supposed to get traded there, and he shut it down. But he's going to be desperate soon enough, so that's a possibility. The one place I think would actually work, and I would hate to see it, but the Houston Texans. Now, I don't know why they do it, especially after trading for Kenny Stills. I think that trade probably throws it out the window. But I can see him having success in Houston. Deshaun Watson just throwing the ball up to him and DeAndre Hopkins. I think he, have enough fun in Houston. I think it makes a lot of sense. And he's from Miami, if I remember correctly. So could he go to the Miami Dolphins? Sure, but the Dolphins are tanking. He'll be completely miserable, and he'll be asked to be released within 2 weeks. It'll be like probably even the middle of a game. He'll be like Vontae Davis, asking to be released in the middle of a game. Maybe even week 1. So, I mean, seriously, I wouldn't even go down that road. Let's see. Other AFC teams. With the Bengals, the Bengals have historically gone down this road, but I mean, you have to, now with Zach Taylor, your new head coach, and no more Marvin Lewis rejects. Let's actually get guys in here that want to play football, want to play well, and actually want to commit themselves to the game. Let's not go down that road, please. And then who else we got here? Other AFC, Tennessee Titans. Okay, no. No. We don't need that type of clownery here. We're doing just fine. I want to see AJ Brown. I don't want to see Antonio Clown. Okay, no. I'm gonna stick with my AJ Brown. Over Antonio Clown. There's no way. And then Jacksonville. Jacksonville would actually make a little bit of sense. I like D.D. Westbrook, and that's it when it comes to their wide receiver core. Their tight ends are awful, worse than the league. Ben Koyak and James O'Shaughnessy. So they could definitely use a wide receiver. He'll believe that he's going to compete, but man, that locker room's getting crazy and crazy. You're going to have Jalen Ramsey, hitting on Antonio Brown in the locker room. Now that's a problem if I ever heard one. So I don't know, but it's a possibility for sure. Depends how desperate they get. I think that's it for the AFC South. Coastal needs to do that right now. We have AFC West. Chargers. Nah, it's not their type of road. Although I think it could actually work for them. And I think they were happy, though, with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, so I don't think they go down that road. Chiefs, no. Well, no. I think they're happy with Sammy Watkins, and they just have to be Mecole Hardman. So probably not the Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders, we just went down that road. And Broncos, no. They're not going to – John Elway's not going to deal with that. Most likely. There's a slight possibility, but I think they're happy with Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders right now, and they should be. And then you move on to the NFC East. Cowboys, Eagles, I think they're happy with the wide receiver cores right now. Redskins, look, the Redskins might do it. But it'd be a damn disaster. Plus, why on earth would Antonio Brown go from John Gruden to Jay Gruden? I mean, it's absolute nonsense. I mean, maybe, I think, Antonio Brown's problem was more with Mike Mayock than John Gruden. So, I guess, maybe he likes Gruden. He wants to play for another one. But the Redskins, I just wouldn't put your rookie Dwayne Haskins. I wouldn't put him around that type of negative energy. But look, they've done this type of crap before. They're going to do it again. They're the Washington damn Redskins. So look out for that. And someone in the chat asked what I'm drinking. Water. Okay, it's too early for that. And then New York Giants, they're waiting on Golden Tate to come back. And I think they're just happy with that. They're not going to put Antonio Brown in New York right now. I think it'd just be too much to ask for. NFC North, I discussed the Green Bay Packers already. Chicago Bears could use him, but they're going to do that. That's too risk-averse for them right now. Or they're too risk-averse for that. We look at, Minnesota Vikings now. They don't need them right now with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Then Detroit Lions, I think they're good. Kerryon Johnson just signed Danny Amendola, although he's almost done. I doubt they'd go down that road. Although I think and also Marvin Jones, I don't think they go down that road. NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, all that happened with Godwin and Mike Evans, New Orleans Saints, possibility. New Orleans Saints is a possibility, and I think this might be one place that'd actually work. And I think they'd be very no-nonsense with him. Look, are you going to play here and play football, or you can leave? And right now, they could really use a number 2 wide receiver. In fact, that's why I don't have the Saints very high right now. I have them 10-6, and I think they could easily lose their division to the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. I just didn't feel like predicting it this year. But, you look at that. I mean, right now, they have Ted Ginn as their number 2. Like, the dude, I can't even say his name because I look up his name right now, but I always forget his name because he's so irrelevant. Kirkwood. They have, this Kirkwood guy. And, they have no one, actually, in the wide receiver core outside of Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn. And Ted Ginn's almost done. They have Keith Kirkwood, Traquan Smith, Austin Carr, and Deontay Harris. Who, right? So they could use a wide receiver. I'd peg New Orleans. Right now, that looks like the best destination to me. I don't know if they're willing to go down that road. But that looks like a pretty damn good destination that not a lot of people are talking about. I don't think anyone's even talked about it. When you go down the rosters, as I'm doing right now, it makes a lot of sense. Carolina Panthers, I don't think they do it. I think they want to see what they have first in DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel before they start taking experiments like Antonio Brown. Falcons are happy with Julio Jones, who just extended, in Calvin Ridley, so definitely not that one. NFC West, Arizona Cardinals could use him, but They know they're rebuilding right now. I don't think they go down that road. I'll give it a slight possibility, but I don't think so. Rams are happy with their trio of wide receivers. 49ers are happy with their young receivers, and Seahawks is a possibility. But look, you just drafted DK Metcalf. You still have Tyler Lockett. I don't know why you'd have to go down that road. Let's see what we have first in DK Metcalf before we commit to signing Antonio Brown, who's going to demand to play a lot. So I wouldn't go down that road. I think they're happy with what they have. They just traded for, Jadeveon Clowney. I think that's going to rock the boat enough. I'll give it a slight possibility, but I don't think it makes much sense. So, that's it for Antonio Brown. I'll answer some quick questions in the chat about this, and then we'll move on to my quick 2019 NFL award predictions. All right, so I'll start from the very top. This is just a hilarious circumstance. Everyone in the chat was just laughing about this as I begin the stream. Someone was arguing that he would be good for Marcus Mariota, that he would bring Mariota to Baker or to Deshaun Watson's level. No, I mean it'd be too ridiculous. And plus, Marcus Mariota is not a guy that's gonna spoon feed someone out there. He's gonna throw it to open receivers. He's not just gonna throw the ball up and expect you to be there. That's not his move. He wants to see you open, or at least have faith that you're gonna be open before he throws with anticipation. That's his move. He's not gonna force feed Antonio Brown. What else do we have here? Yep, Reckless Matt says, I don't want AB. I'm a Cowboys fan and he's a cancer. Yep, absolutely. Ethereal Eagle says Antonio Clown. Absolutely. He absolutely is. What else do we have here? Yeah, you guys enjoying my saltine cracker joke? Jeffrey Leviston says he has a bold prediction. He says Cowboys or Patriots in the next 24 hours. We'll see. I'm telling you guys, the Saints makes a lot of sense. A lot of people saying Seattle. I mean, Seattle, again, I think if I'm Seattle, I just want to see what Lockett and DK Metcalf can do before I go down that road. Plus, we're fine at being a running football team right now with Chris Carson and Rashad Penny. I don't think that we need another guy. And also, we just did it for Clowney. We want to, play defense and run the ball. We're back to our old formula. Jesse Landy says, you clearly haven't watched Renfro in the preseason. Yeah, I have, in the preseason where no one was playing. And he still didn't impress me that much. We'll see, but I just don't see it with this. I think he'll be okay. I just don't think, like this year, well, now he's going to be spoon-fed, so he's probably going to get like 800 yards, but it's not going to be impressive to me. I just don't think he's it. Zell Goes Hard says, love the live chats, bro. Need more of these where you're going to be getting them all season long, so... just look forward to that. I'll move down a little bit more. Yeah, man, what a disaster. The 30 for 30. Oh, and someone said this. Equinemius St. Brown is out for the year. Titletown 1265 said that. I think I didn't even know. Actually, yeah, I did read that, actually. Yeah. I read that on Roto World, just like going through their little news blurbs like a couple weeks ago, whenever it happened. Jesse Lendy says, Matt LaFleur doesn't stink. You're just salty that he couldn't fix your bum quarterback because he's just a bum. Look, all I know is y'all put up 10 points Thursday. Your running game was non-existent. Aaron Rodgers got sacked 5 times. That was the Tennessee Titans last year. Just wait and see. Samuel William Wilkinson asks, will the Saints be absolute locks to win if they got AB? No, because, the thing could still blow up. I'm not even, although I think, like I said, I think it's the best destination. He could be gone in a week. If he's not, showing up and doing the things he needs to do, he could be gone in an absolute week. Week, gone. Sean Payton ain't going to put up with that. Yep, gone. See ya. So I'm not going to say that at all, but it'd be very, very, very intriguing. AJ Alexander says Daniel Jones needs a weapon to replace Odell. Yeah, but man, we just can't trust this Antonio Clown, man. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And Ken Moss saying the Saints have no cap space. That's true, but like I'm saying, I don't think he's going to sign for too much. I just don't think he's going to sign for too much. So we'll see. So anyway, let's close the book on that Antonio Brown. Let's quickly do my 2019 award predictions, and then we'll get out of here. I've already been streaming for 30 minutes. So we'll do this pretty quickly. There's not really much to say here. So let's go ahead and start with the MVP award. And, this is a very interesting award here this year for me because I have a lot of candidates. First of all, let me list my candidates. I think Patrick Mahomes, could definitely be our first repeat MVP in quite some time. I want to say the last one was, I want to say Peyton Manning, but it could have been Aaron Rodgers, but I'm pretty sure it was Peyton Manning. So it's been a while since we had a back-to-back MVP. I think his stats are going to be, I feel like his stats, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, those are my top three right now. And I think all their stats are going to look about the same. I mean, it's just going to be, whoever the voters feel impacted their team the most. And I think that's actually going to be Patrick Mahomes. Now, it just depends if the voters have fatigue. Like, we just gave it to him. We don't want to give it to him again. And we'd rather give it to, like, Carson Wentz. But I think you're just going to look and you're going to say, Mahomes deserves the MVP. So I think Mahomes will deserve it, but he won't get it. And I'll say right now, I'm actually going to give it to Jared Goff because I think that, they're going to be less reliant on Todd Gurley in the run game. Goff will have Cooper Kupp most likely for the entire year. One of those wide receivers will probably get hurt, but, we'll see. That's just the odds. So I think he puts up the stats. I think Wentz will too. But I think Wentz will have the better defense. So I think I'm going to go with actually Jared Goff. I'm going to go with Jared Goff this year to win the MVP, but Mahomes and Carson Wentz will be right there with him. Offensive Player of the Year. Mahomes will also be right there, but I'm going to give it to Saquon Barkley this year. I think it's Saquon's absolutely. I think he's going to have yards from scrimmage. He might break the record, honestly. I think it's 2,500 set by Chris Johnson. At least it was last I checked. He could break that. But I think he'll probably end up with like 2,300. But I'm expecting 1,500 rushing yards. 15. At least 14. Okay, 14 or 1,500 rushing yards. And, add in another 800 receiving yards. He's going to be an absolute beast. All right, so you got to give it to Saquon Barkley. Defensive Player of the Year. I wanted to switch it up. I really wanted to. But, dude, Aaron Donald is just a beast. I mean, I just don't know anyone that's coming for Aaron Donald right now. He continues to absolutely dominate the game. And now with Ndamukong Suh no longer on that defensive line, you got to think that, he's going to have to, carry more of the load. So, I'm going to give it to Aaron Donald again. I also wanted to give it to Khalil Mack, but, Mack was pretty much as good as you're going to get last year, and he still couldn't win it. So I can't give it to Khalil Mack, and Von Miller is always a candidate, but I think Donald and Mack are just, more playmakers right now. And a guy like Luke Kuechly or a linebacker, I don't think linebackers can really compete with these guys statistically right now, and in terms of their impact. So I think it's going to go to Donald or Mack. But I went with Donald. And maybe a cornerback is able to ascend, but there's no really great cornerbacks that come down with a lot of interceptions to be able to win this award right now, which is unfortunate. And Derwin James would have had a shot at this, actually, if he would have been able to stay healthy, but couldn't. Jalen Ramsey's a little bit of a dark horse, though. I'll look out for Jalen Ramsey here. Offensive Rookie of the Year. So, Kyler Murray. Look, I was a huge Kyler Murray fan coming out of college, and I'm still a big fan of him now. But, man, the preseason has looked awful. And I don't know how you look at it and still have confidence in this Cardinals offense, but, what other offensive rookie are we going to give it to? Is there a wide receiver that's even going to have 700 receiving yards, 800? I'll say, I want to say Hollywood Brown, but Lamar Jackson can't throw that football. So I feel like, Hollywood Brown's going to end up with, maybe 500. And it'll be an impressive 500, but it'll be like 500. So maybe Hollywood Brown gets involved. A.J. Brown, you guys know I like A.J. Brown. Well, he was going to disperse the football. I mean, he's going to throw to Corey Davis for at least 1,000 yards. I absolutely believe that. Delaney Walker, at least 600. I want to say 600 plus. He's going to throw to Adam Humphries. I think Adam Humphries is going to get more yards than A.J. Brown this year. Just this year. I think, after this year, it'll be A.J. Brown moving forward. But just this year, I think he throws more to Adam Humphries. And he's still going to throw to Deion Lewis in the backfield. So A.J. Brown's not really a contender for this. N'Keal Harry's put on IR, so he's not really a contender for this. There's no wide receivers to me that stand out. Now, maybe if Deontay Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, if he comes in and outperforms James Washington and then Roethlisberger keeps force-feeding him the football, that's actually a dark horse. But I don't think it's a possibility. And then in terms of running backs, Josh Jacobs, I mean, we just don't know what we're getting from this guy. I mean, This is an Alabama running back, and I think this is the worst Alabama running back I've seen come out in the first round in years. I mean, I watched Alabama. I was never that impressed with Josh Jacobs. Like, I was way more impressed with Derrick Henry. I was way more impressed with Mark Ingram. I was way more impressed with plenty more Alabama running backs than Josh Jacobs. So, I don't think he's going to do that well. So, I'm going to stick with Kyler Murray. And I think the problem is Haskins and Jones won't play enough. They're not going to play 16 games. Murray will. I think Haskins will end up playing 10. I think Daniel Jones will end up playing. It depends, actually. I think the Giants are going to move the football more than they should. And they're going to keep Eli Manning in there for longer than they should. But I'll say he plays for like 8 games. So because Murray played the most, he's going to have the most touchdowns, most yards, most rushing yards. And he'll do enough, although he still might not have the great stat line at the end of the day when it comes to like touchdown to interception ratio. I will go with Kyler Murray to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I have an upset here, or one that people aren't talking about. Brian Burns, defensive end of the Carolina Panthers. First of all, I loved him coming out of college. He was my number 1 target for the Tennessee Titans at the 19th overall pick in the 2019 NFL Draft. I was in love with this guy, but the Carolina Panthers had to pick him up, and he was absolutely killing it in the preseason. And I know, okay, this is going to sound hypocritical because, sometimes I say I care about what people do in the preseason. Sometimes I don't. It depends when I sit down and I watch and I look at their impact and I look at who they're going against. But Brian Burns was killing it, people. I mean, it was backup, tackles. He was obliterating, but he was obliterating them. He was making impact. One game he had 2 sacks. Another one he had 1. And he was having an absolute impact. Brian Burns right now, I think, is going to be a beast. I think he's going to get over 8 sacks, maybe double digits, a couple forced fumbles, and get this award, man. So I got Brian Burns right now for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Comeback Player of the Year, Jimmy Garoppolo. He should finally stay healthy. He'll do quite well, actually. He'll get like 20, I think I had in my 49er video, 26, 27, maybe even 28 passing touchdowns. Could get over 30. And that'll be enough to win this award. I couldn't think of many other players to really pick for this. Le'Veon Bell is a possibility, so look out for Le'Veon Bell for sure. He was my number 2. And that was about it for me. I couldn't think of many players that really, missed a lot of time last year that would be eligible for this type of award. So that's what I went with. I went with Jimmy Garoppolo, but Le'Veon Bell will be number 2 to me. And then Coach of the Year, I struggled with. Because you guys know, I don't have many teams actually, coming from worst to first or, having a big turnaround this year. So the one, playoff team I have making that a lot of people disagree with would be Matt Patricia and the Detroit Lions. However, I have the Lions making it by the skin of their teeth, and I don't think they're going to be that impressive. I think they'll be impressive, but I don't know if it's going to be strong enough for him to win Coach of the Year. Oh, and by the way, I had this last year. I had Matt Nagy winning this award last year, so I'm usually pretty good with Coach of the Year. I went with Mike Vrabel of the Tennessee Titans, and then I went with number 2 with Freddie Kitchens of the Cleveland Browns. Mike Vrabel, the reason I went Mike Vrabel over Freddie Kitchens, I think the Tennessee Titans, although I have them losing to the Browns week 1, I think they're going to catch fire in this season pretty early. It's not going to be like late as they've been doing lately, but I think it's going to be around like week 5, 6. They're going to catch fire. They're going to go 11-5, as I've been saying all year long. And then I think that Mike Vrabel will have a more impressive resume. And people are going to start thinking, man, the Titans are a Super Bowl contender. I think that's actually going to be the case. I think we'll lose, but I think that's what people are going to think, and I think they're going to be right to think that. So I think it's Mike Vrabel. That's what I got. With Freddie Kitchens being a number 2 candidate. And then the other possibilities are, teams that are just so strong that, their head coaches might win anyway. So look out for Bill Belichick again. But I think, voters are just over him. I don't think they vote for him again. Doug Peterson, because I have the Eagles being very strong this year. Sean McVay. But, again, we already know they're great coaches. So, who cares if they go 13-3? I don't think that's, much of a story. But Mike Vrabel, and what I think he's going to do with the Tennessee Titans this year, I think will be deserving of Coach of the Year. And I think he will win Coach of the Year. And then one other award I like to give out. It's not even actually an award. But I like to predict that coaches that will be fired by the end of the year. So this was very difficult for me this year. Because I think every year it's at least 5. It's at least 5 coaches that get fired every year. And I think this past year might have been it was less than normal, but I still feel like it was at least 5. So this is what I got for your ass. Number one, Jay Gruden. He's done. He's finished. Okay, we've gone long enough. Even in fact, he even survived last year. To be quite honest with you, Jay Gruden is done. I have the Redskins going 4-12. I'm sticking by that prediction. In fact, I even want to bump it down to 3-13. But the Raiders, they're gonna have that privilege. So I'll spare one Gruden for another. So Jay Gruden gets fired to me. Number two, Doug Marrone. Now I'm 50-50 on this. I have the Jaguars going 7-9, and I think they could go 8-8 easily. In fact, with the Raiders, I'd probably give the Jaguars one more win, so probably 8-8. But I don't know. I feel like Tom Coughlin's just gonna want to move on with a second missed playoff year from Doug Marrone. Again, this is a stretch. Don't get me wrong, but I really struggled trying to come up with coaches that are going to get fired this year. John Harbaugh, I think he's done. I think the Ravens missed the playoffs. I think that they then look to move on and find someone that can, elevate Lamar Jackson. Number three, or actually, I think that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4, I went with Ron Rivera. Now, this is surprising, but I have the Panthers missing the playoffs right now. And I think that they would just look to move on at this point. We just kind of, been stuck now for a while, and we've never, been that Super Bowl contender except for that one year, and we, didn't win it. So I think they'd just be over it. And the last one I really struggled with, and I'm struggling with it now. I feel like I want to take it back. I'm thinking either Doug McDermott or Mike Zimmer. Now, Doug McDermott, I have the Bills going 7-9, and I will go Doug McDermott. I'll keep Mike Zimmer. So I'll go Doug McDermott. I think the Bills missed the playoffs, and I think at that point they say, okay, we need someone that, a new offensive coach that can come in here and help Josh Allen. So I think Doug McDermott will then get, snipped there. And I wanted to go Brian Flores of the Miami Dolphins. My problem is, although the Cardinals fired Steve Wilkes last year, the Cardinals thought they were going to be better than they were. Like, they thought they were going to be like a 6-win team, and when they were a 2-win team, they're like, okay, no, you're awful. The Dolphins right now, they know they're going to be a 2-win team. So I feel like they hired Flores, like, understanding, like, yeah, we're going to win, like, 2 games with him. If they fire him after this year, it just, unless if he, we have to watch the year. If he does some things that are, like, really bad, and we look at it and we say, okay, yeah, this guy deserves to get fired for making these poor decisions. If that's the case, then he'll deserve it. But otherwise, he's not going to deserve this. Everyone's going to go 2-14 with this team. It's just ridiculous. Why hire him? You knew he was going to go 2-14 and then fire him after 1 year. That's just ridiculous. And I'd have a problem with that, actually. I'd have a big problem with that, just morally speaking. And then I look at some other teams I didn't mention. Zach Taylor's he's not going to get fired his first year. Mike Tomlin, I have the Steelers making the playoffs. But if they miss it, that is a possibility. If the Steelers miss the playoffs, that is a possibility. But I have them making it. No one in the AFC South. Oh, actually, okay, if the Texans... I should have said this. I'm looking at it now. I should have said this. I think Bill O'Brien's done. So add Bill O'Brien to that list of 5 to make it 6. I think Bill O'Brien's done. I have the Texans making the playoffs, but I think they get beat again in the first round, and I think he's done. So add Bill O'Brien to that list. I think he's done. And, yeah, I mean, outside of that, no one else in the AFC South. AFC West, Vic Fangio's not going to get fired year 1. Anthony Lynn did well enough last year. Gruden's not going to get fired yet, and Andy Reid's fine. NFC East, I think Garrett has a strong year. Cowboys are Super Bowl contender, so he stays. Pat Shurmur is interesting, but I think he'll have enough promise with Daniel Jones to where he will survive, so I'm not going to say that. Doug Peterson's fine, and as I said, Jay Gruden gets fired. NFC North, Matt LaFleur will probably deserve to get fired, but I think they'll wait another year, and then they fire him mid-year. And then Chicago Bears, Matt Nagy, no. He's safe. I think Patricia does well enough to make the playoffs. But if they have another 5-11 type year, okay, he's done. Yeah, he's done. But I have faith in the Lions this year. Mike Zimmer's on the edge. He's on the edge. Like, I could see them firing him and saying, okay, let's bring in an offensive guy and try to, help out this offense. But I don't know. I think the Vikings do strong enough this year to where he'll be able to keep his job. Dan Quinn is a possibility if the Falcons really disappoint, but I think they just like Dan Quinn down there. Sean Payton, no. Bruce Arians, no, not his first year. Ron Rivera, as I said, I think it's a possibility right now, and I think it is the case. He's on my list. And then Pete Carroll, no. Kyle Shanahan, if they really disappoint, yeah, but I have them going 8-8, and then they'll wait another year after that. Cardinals, no. Cliff Kingsbury will survive 1 year, and then Sean McVay is fine. So those are my 6 coaches. I'll list them again. You have Jay Gruden, Doug McDermott, Doug Marrone, John Harbaugh, Ron Rivera, and Bill O'Brien. And let me move to the chat because I'm very interested to see what you guys have to say about this. This is something that a lot of people think about. We'll start back where we started with the awards and see what you guys said about my award predictions, and then we'll move on to those coaching firings. Because I think that's one of the more interesting topics that not a lot of people talk about. Try to predict the coaches that get fired. That's a very difficult thing to do, but then by the end of the year, you'll be like, hey, I got some of these right, and I was way off on some of these as well. Yes, Atlanta fan 21. I picked Jared Goff as NFL MVP this year. Look, I like Bilal Faisal said, hey, Stafford going to get lit this year. I'm not sure if he's talking about getting the MVP, though. Stafford ain't getting no MVP, but I think he does well. Ken Mott says, Myles Garrett, possible defensive player of the year. Absolutely. Absolutely. I just think he won't have the impact Aaron Donald will. I mean, Aaron Donald's going to get probably, most likely, as many sacks as Myles Garrett, maybe one or two less at defensive tackle, or at least 3-4 defensive end. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you just have to respect that. But if the voters are tired of voting for him, they might vote for Myles Garrett. But also, Myles Garrett doesn't have enough impact on the run game. He's a very good run defender, but Aaron Donald's just everywhere, dude. It's just ridiculous. Atlanta fan 21 says, Jamal Adams, dark horse. Yeah. Will he, make enough plays? Will he show up on the stat sheet enough? Like, that's the real question. You got to show up on the stat sheet to win Defensive Player of the Year. Sean Bernard says, I really like Chris Jones to go under the radar for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, I thought he was a great candidate last year. And remember, he had that streak of games where he had sacks. He just kept getting sacks every game. The problem is, though, that's not sustainable. I mean, maybe he's that great. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to have that type of streak again. I don't think so. Maybe he will. But if he was going to win it, it was going to be last year, to me. But maybe he has another great year like that. We'll see. Ken Amont says Deebo Samuel. Yeah, Deebo Samuel is actually a dark horse for offensive rookie of the year. Thank you for reminding me of Deebo. He's definitely a dark horse. DK Metcalf, Water Bro Joe, he suggested him. Yeah. I just, we'll see. I think he'll do well. I mean, I said, earlier, I don't think anyone gets even 800 receiving yards. Yeah, I have him down for like 700. He could get 8. But Rookie of the Year, we'd have to see. He's in the running, though. That's another dark horse for sure. But I think Debo's going to do well. In fact, I think I have Debo down for like 900. So I forgot about Debo. Debo's going to do well. But there's a lot of mouths to feed over there in San Francisco. But I do think Debo will do quite well. What else do we see? AJ Alexander said, Mariota spoon-fed Humphreys that one preseason game. He doesn't mind targeting the hell out of a receiver. He doesn't do that during regular season games. He doesn't. Like, just tell me. Like, go back in the history. He doesn't do it. He was just, trying to test it out in the preseason, but he doesn't do that in regular season games. Fab1210 says, Twitter is going crazy that AB flying to Ohio to meet with the Browns Monday. Is that actually true? Can I have confirmation on that? I didn't read about that, but obviously I've been streaming for the last hour. What else do we have here? Jesse Lindy says that Jacobs didn't have great chance because there were too many backs in Alabama. I mean, if you can't separate yourself, and why is there a cop passing by my house? That always makes me paranoid. If he couldn't, beat the great backs in Alabama, I don't know what he's going to do in the NFL. To be quite honest with you, but we'll see. Evil Duck says, I didn't mention Delaney Walker for comeback player of the year. I mean, yeah, he's not going to win it. Sorry. Like, he's going to do well. Like, he's going to have like 6, maybe 700 receiving yards. But, dude, Le'Veon Bell's going to have 1,200 rushing yards and, 500 receiving yards. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to throw for 28 touchdowns. They're just way better candidates. They're not going to give it to him. Same goes for Hunter Henry. He'll do well, but not better than those guys. Carlos Garcia recommended Hunter Henry. AJ Alexander says, Coach of the Year, Matt LaFleur. Good luck with that. I mean, look, you saw his unit out there Thursday, people. Was it good? No. I mean, what are you guys talking about? Ted Speaks says, bro, you're way too high on the Titans. They're the definition of mediocre. I don't know about that. They're the definition of slightly above average. They've gone 9-7, 9-7, 9-7. That's not mediocre. That's above average. Slightly, ever so slightly, but still above average. Anyway, Titans defense is top 8, especially when Simmons returns. Absolutely. Offense is the best it's been in the last 3 years, and we went 9-7 the last 3 years. I do think that 11-5 is insane. Well, we'll see how insane it is. We'll see how insane it is. We're going to beat some teams this year. We're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Tennessee. We're going to beat the Chargers, I think, also in Tennessee. I think we're gonna compete and maybe beat the Saints in Tennessee. I'm telling y'all, look out, look out, and nobody come on my page when we're 1-2. I think we're gonna start 1-2 right now. But then when we catch fire, man, that's it. It's over. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear absolutely nothing. All right, yeah, so Danny Quinn, he suggested Bill O'Brien. Jesse Lindy said it's Sean McDermott. Oh, did I say Doug? I said Doug McDermott. Isn't that yeah, that's the small forward that used to play at Creighton and was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. My apologies. Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills, not Doug McDermott, the NBA player. I'm not even sure if he's still in the NBA. Lord Dragol Smitty says, would Tom Coughlin get fired? No, I think Tom Coughlin will be given one more chance to hire a guy. King James says Giants will fire Pat Shurmur. I mean, I have the Giants going 6-10. And, you know, that's... Where'd they go last year? That's slightly better than they were last year, I think. I can't even remember where they went last year. It was about that. So I think, though, you know, Daniel Jones will do some nice things, and they'll give him one more year, though. I think they went 5-11. Yeah, it should have been 5-11. They had the 6th pick. That's about 5-11. Okay, what else? If anything, Vrabel is fired before LaFleur. Okay. We'll see about that. Steelers versus Patriots. Who you got? Watch my picks video. Week 1 picks are up right now. Steelers fan 1 says Dan Quinn is going to get fired. It's a possibility, but I think the Falcons are better than they were last year. And even if they are the same, I think they wait one more year because they made the playoffs, you know, in the 2017 season, and they beat the Rams in LA. So I think they like what they have right now. And they almost beat the Eagles in the divisional round. So I think they like Dan Quinn. You know, they know when they go to the playoffs, they win with Dan Quinn. King James says Freddie Kitchens, the Browns disappoint. No, I think they give him one more year. You know, even if they disappoint, if they really disappoint, like let's say they go like 3-13, like okay, yeah, but 6-10, even I think they keep him. They give him one more year. Do you think, call me Beast, do you think Melvin Gordon will come around, and do you think the Chargers will make the playoffs? I think he'll finally submit around week 4. Do I think the Chargers make the playoffs? No. Not with the Russell Kung health problems, not with Derwin James being out. Nope. I'm 8-8 on the LA Chargers. Back, you know, to good old LA Charger, 8-8. Atlanta fan 21 says, I feel Doug again. I feel Sean McDermott of the Bills, or however you spell it, is underrated. He won more games than he should have with a terrible roster last year. I mean, I actually agree. That's why I don't want to say he'll get fired. I just feel like he'll get fired because they're just going to want like an offensive guy. You know, they're just going to say, yeah, we want an offensive guy. Sorry. And then that'll be it for him. I feel like that's actually what happens, you know, a lot more often than not now in the NFL. We'll see, though. Just a couple more, and then we'll get out of here. Steeler fan 1 says if Jalen Ramsey shuts down Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Mike Evans, and Tyreek Hill, he'll be Defensive Player of the Year for sure. Yes, but that's a tall, tall task. Devin White for Defensive Rookie of the Year asks Minecraft God 69. Possible. You know, definitely possible. I'm just really high on Brian Burns right now, but it's definitely possible. Although I think Devin Bush might end up making more of an impact this year from what I've seen in the preseason. But, you know, Devin White, hopefully, you know, for the Bucs' sake, because they need some hope on that damn defense. That defense needs some hope right now. And that will do it. So with that said, that ends my thoughts on Antonio Brown getting released from the Oakland Raiders. Still just a hilarious circumstance, and it also concludes my 2019 NFL award predictions. I will be back tomorrow following the Tennessee Titans game for a live game recap, and then I should also do the Sunday Night Football game. We'll see. Hopefully that is the case, but we'll see. So don't hold me to that. But yeah, the NFL's back, right? Congrats on that. We'll see this Antonio Brown situation. Then whenever he ends up signing with the team, I'll definitely be back and probably live to discuss that news. Thank you for joining me here on Sports Fan Entertainment. This has been MJ. I'm out. See you all later.